The Dollhouse World. Written by Amber Collins. Narrated by Araceli Gauthier. Kurtz was an idyllic town, at least by Ashley's standards. She never knew that when she came to live there, it would change her life in such a radical way. She'd been drawn to the small town feel, much like those tiny places back home in America, where everyone knew everyone's name. Kurtz had a more grown-up feel, and that was probably because the majority of its 702 residents were middle-aged and older. One of the most notable businesses in Kurt's quaint town was its dollhouse shop, owned by her girlfriend of the last year, Clara. In this store, Clara restored and sold pricey antique doll furniture. It was a nice living, especially since Clara used the proverbial cheat code to make life easier. Truthfully, none of the pieces were actually doll furniture, but in fact, regular furniture shrunken down with her prized possession, simply called the shrinker. Clara had come to possess it from her father's belongings. His father had worked at Ingolstadt, an engineering company out of Berlin. No one knew what they were designing a shrink ray for, but Clara gave it new life after she'd learned how it worked, and a lot of fun followed it. The shrinker was, of course, a secret. Clara did most of the shrinking in the workshop, at the back of the store, where she restored beautiful pieces of antique furniture. After shrinking them down to palm size, they went to the shelves where she sold them at a premium. Not many people bought them locally, but Ashley brought to Germany her American business sense and opened up a whole world of online selling to Clara. The girls were rich, but that was a closely guarded secret. Again, with the cheat code of the shrinker, it was easy to make money. "I can't believe you've never had pizza," said Ashley one night in her house. Clara had lived for years in the apartment above the dollhouse store, but with her newfound wealth, she bought the old neo-Gothic mansion that sat at the edge of town, overlooking Kurtz like a haunted castle. "It's not a popular food here," said Clara. Her English was so cute with a German accent bleeding through. "But they have it at the mall in Hamburg." "Psh," said Ashley, offended. "This is homemade. You don't get this kind of pizza at the mall." Clara giggled and reclined back on the sofa, watching her girlfriend work across the house in the kitchen. Their mansion was so large, the rooms cavernous. It was really too much house for two girls. Still, they enjoyed their own space. Once the pizza was done, Ashley carried it to the sitting room and placed it on the carpet in front of Clara. Normally, it would look strange to serve a pair of girls a pizza that was only 6 inches in diameter, but this would be plenty. Ashley got on her knees and used the pizza slicer to divide it up, not into 6 pieces, not into 8, but into 48 skinny slices. Next to that, a foot-long serving table complete with tiny, fingernail-sized glasses and a punch bowl filled with soda. Then, Ashley stood and helped Clara to her feet. The girls kissed, then moved to the other side of the room, where Clara had the shrinker hidden behind a curtain. This was her second build, as it was easy to buy the components once money started rolling in. The other was down in the shop, used almost exclusively for work these days. The house shrinker was for fun. Ashley had become just as adept at using the device as Clara, and so she set the parameters, set the timer for 5 seconds, then stepped in front of it with her girlfriend. "It certainly smells good," Clara whispered into her ear, just before a white burst of energy left the shrinker and wrapped around the girls. They separated at once, then moved back to the smoking pan of pizza. Ashley had used the shrinker hundreds of times, on objects, on Clara, and on herself. She knew the feeling of her body preparing to change, like all the cells were lining up to receive orders to shrink now. Getting smaller at the house was always such fun, but was scary the first time it ever happened. The rooms were already so cavernous to a normal-sized person, so when that person shrunk, they became cathedral-like. The large chandelier up above seemed an eternity away. Normally, the girls set the rate of shrinking low so they could enjoy the change, which, The more often they used it, became orgasmic. But not when they only wanted to eat. By the time they'd sat back down on the floor, they were half their normal size and still dwindling. The pizza was looking quite inviting the larger it became. Normally, the girl shrunk down quite small, 6 inches, and sometimes 3 inches. But for eating, they chose 18 inches tall. The girls had discovered long ago that food didn't taste quite the same if they shrunk much smaller than that. Once they reached their desired size of 18 inches, they dug into the pizza. It was awkward to hold, as each slice was as long as their arms, but it was narrow enough to balance between 2 hands. Oopsies! We can't show this part here. Some people can't handle the spice. But don't worry, if you want to see the full version, you can download the complete audiobook from Apple, Audible, or wherever audiobooks are sold. Thanks for watching. See you next time, cuties.